Every day, people make decisions. Some are small and might seem insignificant, and some cost up to human lives. As we will discuss in some short episodes on this topic especially, bad decisions rarely come from bad intentions. They come from bad information. And this isn't a problem limited to wars or intelligence agencies. It is a universal problem of decision making concerning everyone every day. This when most people don't have too little data. These days, they simply have too much and no idea which of it actually matters. First things first, data and intelligence are not the same thing. Confuse the two and you will collect a lot and yet actually understand very little. When your decision maker pushes a pile of data back across the table, the problem is rarely the data, but rather the question. In this video, I will show you how to ask the right questions before you start collecting anything. The tool for this is called PIRs, Priority Intelligence Requirements. 3 principles, 1 process, applicable in the military, in business, and in your personal life. So let's get right in. To understand PIRs, as with many military requirements as well as procedures, you need to start one level up, with the Commander's Critical Information Requirements, or CCIRs. The decision maker, whether a commander, CEO, or for example a security director, has a mission. And with that mission come needs for information. This, as the mission determines what he needs to know, especially his critical contributions to achieve the higher-up's critical intent. Not everything, the most important things. The distinction is everything. These are called the Commander's Critical Information Requirements. The CCIR splits into 2 categories. FFIRs, Friendly Forces Intelligence Requirements, what do I need to know about my own forces? And PIRs, Priority Intelligence Requirements, what do I need to know about the outside world? Today, we focus on about the adversary, the operational environment, or, in more of our cases, the market. Please note, a PIR does not answer a vague curiosity. It answers a specific decision-relevant question of the commander. Hence thereby, raw data alone is worthless. Only through context and analysis does it become intelligence, actionable insight. Please also note in red, only data plus context plus analysis actually equals intelligence, and this is not a formula exclusively for spies or agencies. It applies to anyone who wants to make informed decisions. Think of a funnel. Thousands of data points go in at the top. What comes out the bottom has to answer the decision-relevant question. A PIR, therefore, is the prioritized question of the decision maker. Not the analyst's question, not the market's question, the commander's critical information requirements derived. The word prioritized is not a decoration here either. It means this question comes first. Resources follow it, everything else waits. A classic mistake, the analyst defines the PIR themselves. Yet that is like letting the chef decide what the guest ordered. Also, PIRs always carry a deadline. A question without a time frame isn't a PIR, but more like a general concern or interest. Easier formulated for those in the know, the difference between a poor and a strong PIR formulation is the classic difference between noise and signal, or data and insight. How's the market going? Useless. Will competitor X launch into segment epsilon before quarter 4? That's a PIR. Precision decides. Before you concretize a PIR, ask yourself 2 things. Who is the decision maker? What's his role, mission, and his and the higher-up's critical intent? What do they need precisely, and by when? The path from information requirement to actionable intelligence then runs to 4 stages. Mission, critical contribution to higher-up's intent, CCIR, PIR, EEI, and each level refines the one before it. A PIR by itself is too broad to answer directly, so it gets broken down into essential elements of information, or EEIs. Therefore, think of a tree. The trunk is your PIR. The branches are your EEIs, the specific information fields you need to illuminate. Which aspect of the PIR needs to be addressed? What exactly do I want to know within the sub-area? Is are then translated into indicators. These are observable signs, signals I can actually look for in the real world. Note, an indicator is always observable. If I can't measure it, read it, or verify it, it isn't an indicator, it is a hunch. Indicators can be positive or negative. A missing signal is often just as informative as a present one. Both count. For example, job postings for regional sales managers, new patent filings, trade show announcements. These are indicators of a new product or market launch. Every indicator leads to a concrete collection task, which translates into who looks where for what. That then is the job of the specific information requirement. The SIR is the operational core. It answers who collects what, where, when, and with what tool. It's not like a goal, but rather an assignment. With the SIR, you assign a concrete task to a sensor or source. Only now does the actual collection phase begin, while hopefully, of course, your advanced recon is constantly circling days ahead. Sensors can be people, databases, software tools, or external partners. Every SIR then has exactly one responsible sensor. The collected raw data then goes through processing. It's reviewed, filtered, structured, and only then it is ready for analysis. If you would like to know more on this, please watch the episode on the PIR's overlaying method, the joint intelligence process. In the analysis phase, data then becomes insight. This is the step that requires time, expertise, and judgment. The analytical product, the intelligence, then goes back to the decision maker in the right format at the right time. Dissemination means the right information reaches the right person at the right moment. Not earlier, definitely not later. The decision maker reads the intelligence, evaluates it, and makes a decision, as this is what the entire process was built for. And with that, the cycle closes. PIR, EEI, indicator, SIR, sensor, processing, analysis, intelligence, decision. And then right back to the PIR. And organizations that establish it as a routine outperform those that don't. Attention! The most frequently neglected step? Evaluation and feedback, of course. Was the intelligence accurate? What do we learn from it about our collection as well as processing? After every intelligence delivery, the question must be asked, did this actually answer our decision-relevant question to our content? If not, why not? If the answer is unsatisfactory, you refine the PIR. You ask the question more precisely. The process begins again, just improved. But always keep in mind, every cycle has a deadline. Intelligence that arrives too late isn't intelligence anymore, but rather just history, not even worth the war diaries. And that's the key sentence. Intelligence is not an answer. It is the best available basis for a decision under uncertainty, on which and its siblings of decision paralysis, including solutions, we will come back to in our VUCA, volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity episode. Subscribe now to not miss this as well. No process immunizes against human cognition and its potential to get misled, on which we will come back in episode 1.1 of the Navigating the Normal series. 3 failures, therefore, appear most frequently and most dangerously in the intelligence process. Failure number 1, confirmation bias. You're not looking for the truth, you're looking for confirmation of what you already believe. Contradicting signals are unconsciously ignored, reinterpreted, or never searched for. The result is a distorted picture of reality. The first defense against confirmation bias: actively seek out disconforming evidence. Ask yourself, what would falsify my hypothesis? Failure number 2, single source dependency. One source delivers compelling information and suddenly everything hangs on it, while every source has blind spots, interests, or errors. In the Iraq War, the assessment rested largely on one informant, Curveball, yet his claims were entirely fabricated. The solution here is structural redundancy. Multiple independent sources, different methods, different perspectives. And this always. Failure number 3, garbage in, garbage out. A poorly formulated PIR produces precisely useless intelligence. How's the market doing? Is not a PIR. It's a conversation opener at a cocktail party. For our decision making, it's practically worthless. Will competitor X launch into segment Epsilon before quarter 4? That's a PIR. It has an actor, a time frame, and a verifiable criterion. The quality of your intelligence stands or falls with the quality of your questions. That's the single point in the process that determines everything else. A PIR therefore can and must be revised. The first draft is rarely the best. Invest time in the question to save significantly in the process of finding the answer. The most well-known example of all 3 failures operating simultaneously: the Iraq War Intelligence Assessment of 2002 and 2003. Confirmation bias, single source dependency, vague questions, all at once. A single informant provided reports on weapons of mass destruction. His claims later proved to be entirely invented. A single source, no matter how convincing, must never be the sole foundation of a major decision. That's not a rule of thumb, that should be doctrine. The solution? Multiple independent sources converge on the same topic. Only when they align does the confidence level rise. Those were the 3 most common failures in the intelligence process. Now you know where the traps are and how you hopefully avoid them from now. Because the joint intelligence process is not exclusive to the military. In the corporate context, it's equally relevant and equally rarely applied with discipline. All this while, every company operates in a competitive environment. Those who don't know their adversaries are playing chess blindfolded. The first step in the corporate context: PIRs come from the CEO or the board, not from the market research department. The hierarchy of questions matters. Example 1. Market and competitive intelligence. The PIR is, Will competitor X launch a specific product, competing with our latest or planned model in Southeast Asia within the next 6 months? This generates at least 3 EEIs: the product development status, distribution partnerships in the region, and regulatory approvals in target markets. And the concrete indicators: job postings on LinkedIn, patent applications, trade roll announcements, all publicly available. The SIR, the market research team, monitors job boards for competitor X postings weekly. A concrete task with clear ownership. Example 2, M&A due diligence. Before you think further of acquiring a company, you need to ask the right questions, not all the questions. Are there undisclosed liabilities or legal risks? That's a PIR. It leads to EEIs about contract clauses, tax histories, and pending proceedings. Is the leadership team retainable after acquisition? Also a PIR. Without it, you buy a company and might lose it within 6 months through attrition. Are customer relationships institutional or person dependent? Critical question, because when the key account manager leaves, the key account might follow. Example 3. Supply chain resilience. Which of your supply chains are exposed to geopolitical disruption? That's the motto of all supply chain PIRs. You can't protect a supply chain you don't understand, and you can understand it before you have asked the right questions. Single points of failure in supply chains are the corporate equivalent of single source dependency. One critical supplier going down can halt an entire production line and ruin a company. Rising freight insurance premiums are an indicator of geopolitical shifts. Organizations that don't integrate the sensor into their PIR process then see the risk only when it's already arrived. The EEI, geographic concentration of critical suppliers. If 3 of your 4 key suppliers sit in the same high risk corridor, that's not diversification, that's a cluster or one-hit risk. The SIR, supplier and transport route mapping with geolocation and timeframes. Overwatch regarding regional developments. Owned by risk management. Built once, updated quarterly, or if indicators that a contingency might have to be activated to compile. Ideally, complemented by beforehand organized default suppliers in more safe regions and transport routes if X or Epsilon. Intelligence is not a luxury for large corporations. It should be the foundation of every decision made under uncertainty. And uncertainty is the permanent condition of every business. Establish an intelligence cycle as routine. Planning, collection, analysis, review. Quarterly or more frequently in volatile environments. And make the PIR a team product. The question must come from the top, but the breakdown into EEIs is a collaborative work. The PIR process doesn't stop at the office door. You can apply it to your personal security and the safety of your family as well. This, while the PIR does not stop at the office door. You can apply it to your personal security and the safety of your family as well. Example, you are planning a business trip to a region with elevated risk. What do you need to know before you book? Your PIR. Is the trip to region X feasible? And if so, under what conditions? That's a concrete decision-relevant question. Your sources, the Foreign Office, other open source intelligence, specialized security firms, and local context on the ground if possible. Never just one of them. Your first EEI, what is the current incident density along the route and at the destination? Kidnappings, carjackings, roadblocks by non-state actors. How reliable are the state actors? Is there a reliable alternative route if the primary route is compromised? This is just a bare minimum of preparation, please note that. Your SIR, briefing from a local security partner by phone, 24 hours before departure. Concrete, assigned, time-bound. And then, write the emergency plan down. Who's the first to call? What's the rally point? Where's the nearest embassy? Those are SIRs for the crisis. Even at the family level, a minimal PIR process is worthwhile. What does every family member need to know in an emergency? That's just personal care and resilience. Knowing your own home, exits, vulnerabilities, alternative escape routes is a simple check in the domain of personal security. Simple, but effective. Digital hygiene is part of personal intelligence too as well. Who has access to your movement profile? That's an indicator of the most dire personable vulnerability. For this, think in concentric rings. Yourself and your family at the center, then your immediate environment, then your region. PIRs can be formulated for every level. A personal PIR checklist doesn't need to be long. 3 to 5 questions, reviewed regularly, are enough to stay informed and capable of acting. And also children can and should learn what to do in an emergency too. And that's not fear-mongering, it's education and agency of care. Those who live prepared don't react. They act. That's the difference between resilience and reactivity. Let's summarize. 5 principles to take away from this video. First, ask the right question before you start collecting. A poorly formulated PIR makes everything that follows worthless. Second, break the question down. PIR becomes EEI, EEI becomes indicator, indicator becomes SIR. Each level refines the one before it. Third, combine your sources. No single source is infallible. Redundancy isn't inefficiency, it's quality assurance. Fourth, stay skeptical, including of yourself. Actively seek out evidence that contradicts your hypothesis. And tap yourself on the shoulder, because that takes intellectual courage. Fifth, close the cycle. Evaluation and feedback are not optional. They are the mechanism through which the process gets better. The PIR process itself is universal. Whether you are running a company, planning a business trip, or simply trying to make better decisions, the logic is the same. Intelligence doesn't mean omniscience. It means concentrating available resources on the questions that actually matter. One last more recap. PIR leads to EEI, EEI leads to indicators, indicators lead to sensors, sensors deliver data, data becomes intelligence, and intelligence leads to decisions. Better decisions, hopefully, which was the point of this video all along. If you want to go deeper on the joint intelligence process, priority intelligence requirements, and their real-world applications, the links to further videos are in the description. I thank you very much for your attention. This concludes my elaborations. I wish us all strength and good fortune in the wars to come. Stay aware. Take care.